pretty sure.
Yeah!
Oh, gotta get their fast shot.
Yeah!
Gotta get their fast shot! There it is.
Welcome Britball Nation to the scoop for Uniball Week 2. We've been reliably informed that on Sunday some of the Britball Nation actually do something other than pay attention to our manic live coverage of each and every Britball game. Little things like working, supporting or even playing in the actual games themselves all rather inconveniently get in the way of keeping yourself up to speed with the results and ramifications from around the nation. Never fear, DC is here with the scoop of the important bits from the past weekend of Britball. Only really Uniball to look at this weekend, though the fixtures were spread across both Saturday and Sunday as both Birmingham and the University of Nottingham kicked off their home fixtures under the Saturday night lights. So let's jump into it. We'll start our recap of the weekend at the fixture that we know everyone wants to talk about.
Damn!
Saturday night, a Uniball powerhouse meets a team of underdogs, victims sent into the arena to face the beast. And as expected, the Nottingham students with their sports scholars put in a dominant performance, even though LJMU Fury did manage to sneak in a 40-yard field goal to close out the match. Wait, what? Huh? That isn't the game everyone wants to talk about? But you've got a ton of points scored, you've got a heroic storyline of closing out the game with a long shot, last ditch effort to save some face. No? Explosion. Oh, right, yeah. Well, let's be frank, I don't think anyone, perhaps even the Killer Bees themselves, saw this one coming. Explosion attracts the biggest crowds in the Britball Nation as fans of the game, Lions alumni, and just the wider community of Birmingham University and the many local football programmes look to share the closest thing British American football has to a college game atmosphere. Explosion celebrated its 10th anniversary this year with the Lions yet to ever lose a single one. Hells, they've hardly even conceded points in them. Scheduling has conveniently always allowed the Lions to face one of their less threatening opponents in this opening home fixture, and that appeared to have held true again this year as they welcomed a Bath Killer Bees team to the Lions' den, who hadn't been able to put away a Hertfordshire Hurricanes team the week before, despite taking the ball away from the Canes 6 times. Bath drew first blood early with a field goal, courtesy of the Lions putting themselves in an awkward position off the back of a high punt snap, but contrary to what appeared at the time rather overdramatic analysis from the Burn FM commentary team, most of those watching the game had few fears that the Lions wouldn't find a way to grind down the Bees' D and emerge with a comfortable victory. Even going into the half yet to put any points on the board, there'd been enough near misses that it still seemed a foregone conclusion that the Lions would take away the W, and coming right out of the break to drive down the field and score, it seemed like head coach Wayne Hill's half-time talk had clearly drilled the complacency out of the Lions and would resume our regular programming. But even then, Samuel Lee Baker and the aerial attack just couldn't seem to find their rhythm. The Lions' offense coming almost entirely off the back of Elliot Walters in the ground game, and when Bees' defensive lineman John Tebay somehow broke through the Lions' line untouched, Samuel Lee Baker appeared to panic and while retreating took what we expect was a shot at throwing the ball away out of bounds, but instead threw right into the hands of Ikem Okwudiafo, who returned the ball 65 yards for the score. The PAT went through, and with only 1 minute 37 on the clock, the Lions were now 3 points down and headed for the unthinkable. 13 seconds on the clock, and a PI call puts the Lions on the 10. Baker drops back, finds a man short right, but the Bees stop him at the 1. And then between the scuffle around the ball and the Lions running on the field goal unit, time expires. 2016, year of the underdog. Believe it or not, there was also some other games at the weekend. In the Prem North, Loughborough start their season with an 0-2 record that doesn't represent the performances they're putting in. Tied scoreless at the half, both teams found the end zone in the second half, but neither managed to convert their PATs. Entering overtime, where they used the less familiar sudden death format that's used in Uniball, Klansmen drove down the field, found pay dirt and the conversion. Loughborough's attempt to equalise was killed by a fumbled snap, getting the Klansmen season back on track, but likely not in the style that they would have wanted or expected. The NTU Renegades put in a very respectable performance in their Premiership debut, holding the Saints to a single-score win. This puts the Saints at a perfect 2-0, but their victories have been far from comfortable, and against two programmes that were not expecting to be the elite challengers in the top tier. With every single fixture in the Prem North so far come down to a score or less, this looks to be a real cracker of a season. In the South, the Titans outshone the Renegades' impressive Premiership debut by opening their life in the top tier with a win and a confident 23-13 victory over the Kingston Cougars, whose time in the Premiership suddenly looks under threat as they now sit as the only winless team in the Prem South. Sam Huxtable and Joe Cottrell continue to provide a threat everywhere on the field and in every phase of the game, while rookie wideout Pete Doyle sealed the deal with this touchdown grab. Moving to Division 1, and the result that immediately stands out is the Hull Sharks taking what we thought to be a fairly solid Newcastle Raiders team and demolishing them, producing the first 50 burger of the season. And really doing a number on our power rankings. You see, in our mind you had the Raiders, and they took away a comfortable win from the Mustangs, who in turn looked fairly evenly matched with the Tigers on Sunday, and then so now we're going to have to really rethink things. The Sharks balled out. Quarterback Sam Folds threw 4 touchdowns in the first quarter, while their D produced 7 turnovers with 4 interceptions and 5 forced fumbles, 3 of which were snapped up by the Sharks. Perhaps most importantly for the Sharks in their season opener, their performance was so dominant they managed to rep their entire 48-man roster. As mentioned, the Tigers and Mustangs ran each other close in what looks to have been a shootout north of the wall, and we're hearing rumblings of some controversy coming out of this matchup. In the Northwest, Carnegie bounced back strong from their shutout against Hallam. Quarterback Aliku Mwambingu produced a passing attack that appeared to surprise even Leeds themselves, and their defense was dominant, creating turnovers galore, including 4 interceptions, one of which came from Spencer Hind, who took it to the house. To the Midlands, and alongside the Nottingham win on Saturday evening, the Wolves season continued much as expected, taking a comfortable win over the Staffordshire Stallions. At least for the Stallions, their trial by fire entering this season of Uniball should begin to ease off a bit between now and the Christmas break. The Southwest continues to intrigue as Solent, so dominant in their week 1 thrashing of the Bullets, were dealt a blow by a Cobra side that now surely has to be favourites for the conference. Cardiff's run game has stepped to upper level, and even though they have a lot of new faces on D, they outmatched the Solent offence, with 2 of the Red Hawks scores coming courtesy of the defence, who returned both an interception and a fumble for scores. UE's troubled season went from bad to worse when there were issues with the medical cover for the fixture. The ref team departed, leaving the 2 teams to play a scrimmage, and while we await confirmation, you've got to assume that considering the Lancers made the trip, that they will take a walk-away win away from the day. UE have a big roster and many would have expected them to compete for the conference coming into the season, but it will be a big ask for them to bounce back if they're confirmed as the first team above the bottom tier to be forced to forfeit this season. The Reading Knights, who many pundits were expecting to be the new whipping boys of the 1A South, balled out on defence, shutting out the Tsunami and picking up more points with their D than their O, courtesy of 2 safeties. Similarly, the Portsmouth defence continues to lead the way as they held up Stingers' offence to only a single touchdown and a pair of field goals, allowing the Destroyers to move to 2-0 on the season despite only returning to Division 1 balling this year. This extends the Destroyers' win streak to 10 games going back into last season. And finally in Division 1, things are not looking positive for the Royal Bears, who, coming into the year off the back of 2 single-loss seasons, have been handed 2 beatdowns from teams that weren't initially on our radar as contenders in the South East. Down to Division 2, and in the Border, the young Harriet Watt programme learnt the hard way that the swankiest training facilities in the world do not prepare you for greasy footballs on a soggy Sunday in Scotland. Turnovers reigned supreme in the Hawoo Predators season opener, but ultimately the Edinburgh team snuck in a single score that would prove decisive. Down in York, the matchup went as expected, with the short-handed UWS Pyro side forced to make a long trip back up north off the back of a 36 defeat. The number 10 ranked Mud Dogs reassured us that we have made at least some correct picks in our power rankings, beating the Vikings 21-0, and in the first meeting between the 2 teams, the Bradford Bears emerged 18-6 winners over the Keele Crusaders. In the Midlands, the Colonials took away the expected win from Leicester, but the Longhorns at least made it look competitive. Expect a lot more from the Leicester University side than a 1-win season. The 2A Southwest had a busy weekend with 6 of the 7 teams competing. Barracuda took back some pride from their week 1 loss by thumping a 38-3 defeat on Tirana Aberystwyth, and Gloucestershire looked sharp as they found ways around what we were expecting to be a sturdy Bournemouth D to take away a clear 28-2 win. The more interesting fixture came as the current Division 2 Southwest champs welcomed the OBU Panthers down to the South Coast. We've mentioned previously that the key to Plymouth's position in the conference this year is likely their ability to keep their playmakers healthy, and when starting quarterback Fen Trudgeon was taken out of the game in the very first play, it was clear that the Blitz was shaken by the departure of their quarterback, and their offensive productivity through the first half was decidedly dire. The Blitz D kept them in it, bending but not breaking as the Panthers moved up and down the field but were held to 2 field goal attempts in the first half, the latter of which was blocked, meaning the teams went into half tied up at 3-3. A stroke of luck in the third gave the Blitz both the edge and the lead. OBU continued to move the ball well, but were forced to settle with only a field goal, and then a second one that was initially successful but wiped off the board with a flag and then blocked on the second attempt. OBU dominated many of the stat lines following the fixture and should be competitive this season, but they fell short in the only stat that really matters, the score. The Stags paid our power rankers back for their faith in the 3-year plan, as despite their conference correspondent predicting a narrow loss for Southampton, they found a score in the closing seconds of the game that gave them the win. The 2A South certainly looks like it could be an interesting conference, especially considering the result from the other fixture this weekend. The UCL Emperors were clearly looking to outdo fellow rookie programme the Quimble Vipers, and succeeded, not only putting in a 40-point offensive performance, but shutting out their opponents, the BNU Buccaneers, to boot. It certainly feels like these young new programmes are getting cracking starts to their season, and the Chester Legion, who kick off their season next weekend, have a lot to live up to. And boy, does it feel like a long time ago that the BNU Buccaneers were feared throughout Uniball for their dreaded double wing offense.
Remember the double wing?
And finally, the Greenwich Mariners say goodbye to their place in the power rankings courtesy of a 26-0 trampling under the hooves of the Canterbury Chargers. We had fairly big expectations of the Mariners coming into the season after a successful 2015-16 campaign. However, the victory now moves the Chargers to 2-0, and with Division 2 teams only having 6 games with no opportunities to turn over head-to-head losses on the return trip, 1 game in and the Mariners' plans for the postseason are already in jeopardy. So what do we think, nation? Did we miss anything big? If we did, shout at us in the comments down below. Remember, if you want your game tape or pre-game, post-game hype and celebrations, all of that goodness included in DC's videos, putting yourselves and your teammates out there in front of a wider audience, well, just get in touch and we'll figure out a way to get your content out there to as many people in as many places as possible. More Uniball power rankings are on their way, and hopefully a bit sooner than last week, so long as no one's planning to start a new semi-pro franchise anytime soon. Anyone? No? We're sure? This weekend ahead of us, we have both the third round of Opal Series, as well as week 3 of Uniball to keep us full to the brim with Britball goodness. Remember, as always, if you like these videos, give them a thumbs up on YouTube. It takes a matter of seconds for you, but it really helps us out in getting our coverage of your games out there. If you like what we've had to say about your team, give this video a share, and as always, smack that subscribe button if you haven't already. Week by week, we're going to be looking to improve and increase our video content, so that'll ensure you don't miss out. In the meantime, play hard, play safe, and can you believe the Bees beat the Lions? 2016. This is one crazy year.
Barnbrook never been beaten in an explosion. Bath certainly the underdogs coming into this. They only went 3-8 last season. They've taken on the might of the Birmingham Lions at their own showpiece event and come away with a win that surely will reverberate around British Uniball.